This tutorial is going to walk you through the creation of a word guess game. We're going to be using Visual Basic 2010 to do this. This particular program has 9 specifications. The first is that it's going to be played between the computer and a single player. The computer will randomly select a word from a given list, and dashes are displayed, one for each letter of the word. A hint is going to be provided for each word, and an input box is used to get the player's letter guess. Player input is not case sensitive. The player can input a lowercase letter or an uppercase letter. It will not matter. However, only uppercase letters are going to be displayed. The player is provided an opportunity to guess the word at any point during the game, and finally, at the end of the game, a message box shows the player the total number of guesses. We have a very simple algorithm for this. The first thing to happen is that the computer is going to randomly select a word from a given list and then set the appropriate number of dashes inside the word label, and then get the player's first guess. Once the player's first guess has been received, it's going to validate the data, and then it's going to update the label or a message box as necessary. Then it's going to get the player's next guess if the secret word has not yet been guessed, and once again update the word label and message box if necessary. This is a demonstration of the word guess game once it's completed. You see that the game has already been started. It had randomly selected the word. Here's a dash for each letter in the word, and here is the hint for the word. Start the game by clicking the button. Play the game. Here's the input box to get the user's letter guess, but notice in here it says enter a letter or, and it says exclamation mark, to guess the secret word. So if we wanted to guess a letter, let's see, a value passed to a procedure or a function, well, that's an argument. Put an A in there. Yep, it's an argument. I'm going to go ahead and select a exclamation mark so I can guess the word. Now notice that it gives a different prompt. Enter a word, and I'm going to put argument. Hopefully spell it right. Hit enter, and I guessed it in one guess. Click OK. Let's play the game again. And a set of statements that perform a specific task and return a value. Okay, that's going to be a function. Let's just go ahead and see what it looks like when you just guess all the letters. F, oops, almost got ahead of myself. U, N, shun, T, I, O. And so if you don't have to guess a word, you can guess all the letters, and once you got all the letters guessed, it can tell that you've actually guessed the word. Or you can use the exclamation mark, which we refer to as a flag. Let's go ahead and start creating the word guess game. We're going to focus on doing this one step at a time in regards to the algorithm that we've already gone over. But first we need to create the interface. Let's go ahead and get that started. I'm going to make it resemble the one that's provided in a handout if you received the handout. Need a button at the bottom and then 2 labels. One label for the word and one label for the hint. I'm going to go ahead and take the auto size off of both of them. Okay, and let's see. I want to be able to see the border for both of them. Fix 3D. There we go. Now it's got to hold the word, and this will hold the hint. Alright, take the, let's see, no text for either one of the labels. Call it LBL hint and LBL secret word. take the text property out of that. And for the button, what text? Play the game. And we'll name it BTN Play. Okay, let's go ahead and size it. Let's bring it up here a little bit closer, and let's center it on the form. And let's change the text property to the form. We'll leave the name property as it is, but the text property is going to be WordGuess. Alright, so we have our interface. Let's go ahead and write some code. Alright, we have one click event procedure, and that's going to be the button click event. And the first thing I want to do is go ahead and let's do this one at a time. We need to randomly select a secret word. I'll get my variables as we go along, but I want to do this. I want to present this in such a way that we're sticking with the algorithm. So let's see. Put a comment up here for randomly select a secret word. Later on, we're going to, you know what? Let's number these. 1. Randomly select a secret word. 2. Get the user's first guess. Validate the data. Update the label and or message boxes if necessary. Okay, so there's the algorithm. Let's go ahead and get started. Randomly selecting a word. Alright, I'm going to need to create a random number object. Let's see. Random number object. Dim. And what are we going to call a random number object? How about random number as new random. And then I'm going to need a variable to hold the random number. So a couple strings here. How about a str secret word and str hint as string, and let's dim an integer. What is that going to be? Oh, that's going to be the random number, our number. Okay, now let's assign that random number. Let's see. NTR number assigned random number dot next. And we're only going to have a few words to start off with, so let's have a range of 1 to 6 on here. So we'll do 7. Alright, and now we're going to do a select case. And I'm going to go ahead and type all this in, and I'll be back with you as soon as I have. Okay, so that's all we're going to put for this example, just 6 word choices, and that should actually produce the random number for us, and the random number is going to be associated with a word, and that's the way we're going to go through that. So the next step is to set the appropriate number of dashes inside the label. Let's come down and get rid of some of these spaces here. Second algorithm step, we're going to assign a number of spaces. Let's get a variable that's actually going to hold that value. So number of letters. I'm going to go ahead and initialize that to an empty string there. Let's go ahead and programmatically change some of the properties. Come on. There we go. Let's test this out. Doesn't look good. Everything's up here and it's real small. So let's go ahead and change this around a little bit to see if we can make that look closer to what we want. Let's change a property for the font. Let's make that, let's go ahead and make it 16. Bold. Click OK. And we want to center it. Alright, and this one, let's make that centered. And we can make the font a little bit bigger. What is it now? I think it's an 8. Let's change to a 10. Click OK. Still kind of small. Let's make that a little bit bigger. We said 16. Let's check it. Let's crank it up to 72. See how it looks at a 72. That looks pretty good at a 72. But since this is going to be centered, I think that's going to be a little bit too big. Let's back it off a little bit from a 72. And then I think we'll be done. At least with this part. There we go. I think that looks much better. Okay, so the first 2 steps in the algorithm, for the most part, I think we have it. It appears that the random order is being selected appropriately, and we're getting the dashes inside the label. So now we need to set up to be able to get the user's first guess. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get set up to get the user's first guess, and we have to anticipate that if they read the hint and they want to guess the word, that they might want to implement the flag at that point. So let's go ahead and declare our flag. It's going to be a constant, and we're just going to type flag. Whoops. Flag, and what are we going to as a character, and let's initialize it to an exclamation mark. So we have our flag. Let's come down to our algorithm here to get the user's first guess. Let's go ahead and declare a variable that is going to hold the user's temp letter guess as string. Alright. Now let's assign a value, str temp letter guess a string, and we're going to use an input box. So input box, and the prompt is going to be what? Enter a letter or an exclamation mark to secret word. Okay, so the input box looks good. We've got a string in there. It's going to be assigned, whatever they type in the input box is going to be assigned to a variable. We've got that color covered. And it looks like we've just satisfied the requirements for that third algorithm. Let's go ahead and test that and see if it's actually bringing up the input box. Would expect it would. Play the game, and there it is. Enter a letter or an exclamation mark to guess the secret word. Looks good. Let me check. Should be a space between it. Let me check my spacing here. I'm actually going to put another space in here just to make it stand out a little bit. Make sure that looks good. I think that looks a little better. It's not a big deal, but I'd like it to look nice. Alright, so we are ready for data validation. So what are we going to do for data validation? For this input validation, I'm going to have a couple of decision structures, a couple different kind of loops. But the first thing I want to account for is what if the user leaves the input box empty. So let me go ahead and make sure that I have code that's going to address that. I'm going to say the game's going to be over. However, I haven't declared a variable for that. Let's go ahead and declare that variable. Okay, so that works. Okay, now otherwise, letter guess is going to be equal to temp letter guess, or letters of word. No, I wanted letter guess. Have I not declared letter guess yet? Have not declared letter guess yet. I need to declare that. Let's declare that one also. Because I want to hold I want to have a different variable for the letter guess and the temp letter guess. And let's see, end. Alright. Now I'm going to start my loop. It's going to be a do while loop. And the condition for this is going to be str letter guess does not equal with a flag. And str letters of word not equal str secret word. And not game over. Now, as long as all that is true, we're going to continue with the loop. And I haven't declared a number of guesses yet either, so let's go ahead and declare that. And look at that, I never declared this as a string. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a for loop that is going to check to see if the letter guessed is actually in the word, and if it is, we're going to replace the dash with the letter. Letter position. Starting with 0 because that's an index value. Secret word dot length -1. Okay, now I need to declare another variable, str temp word, as a string. I'll add it here. Okay. Now let's update the graphical user interface. Let's update the GUI. Next, int letter position. And then we have our loop. And looking at that, is that everything we need? No. Let's do a little bit of cleanup here, because this right here is actually what we're doing right here. Alright, and we're going to continue on right here. Sometimes these steps kind of overlap a bit, and that's what we're getting into here. Okay, so step 6 is starting here. We're still in the loop, and I have another decision structure going here. Fix this up. Why is it doing that? Because I'm inside the loop. Alright. Want an if statement. I need to check something. Letters of word do not equal secret word. Now the input box again. And it's going to say the same thing as it said before. That down here. Alright. And we're actually going to validate data again, which is what we just did right up here. So I'm basically going to copy this one, put that down here again. There we go. So we're almost finished. At this point, basically what has happened, a user has made a guess, submitted a letter within the input box, and now this loop is checking each of those dashes, if you will, each position in the secret word to see if that letter matches any letter in the secret word. And if it does, then it's going to replace it. But it's also checking to see if all the letters have been guessed, and that's what we're going to get into here. What do we do when the game is over? So let's finish this loop here, and then after that loop, we want to update if necessary. Alright, so let's have a decision structure. Okay. The int number of guesses is a counter variable. Where did we declare that? Int number of guesses right here is where it was declared, and that's keeping track there. So let's move on with an else if. So if they did not guess the word yet, what about if it equals the flag? str WordGuess. Looks like we've got to declare that one next. Yeah, we haven't declared that yet, so let's declare that here. STR word guess. STR word guess. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, I got a then here. Okay, I'm getting kind of ahead of myself. STR word guess is assigned input from the input box. Enter a word. Alright, I think I'm back on track now, so let's take a look. So if the STR word guess I want to change it to uppercase, is the same as STR secret word. Now, okay, I'm back on track now. LBL secret word, back color, yellow. Else so if they guess the word wrong, they're going to lose. Okay, now go to else. Game over. And we should have an indef. There it is. And then we should have an in sub and in class. Alright, so let's go ahead and test this and see if this works for us. Yes, see, word. Let's see. A set of statements that perform a specific task and return a value. We know that's going to be a function. Let's go ahead and leave it empty, though. Let's leave it empty. And if we leave it empty, the game is going to be over. It's going to trigger that. Okay, so let's do it again. See, a variable of a class. A variable of a class is an object. Let's go ahead and see if it's going to take a B. Here we go. Let's guess the word. Make sure we spell it correctly. Object. And it looks like we're playing it correctly. It looks like it's working correctly. And we did that in basically seven steps.